Hey there, Tim and Jesse with Defense Mechanisms. Today we're going to take a look at our rifle sling. Jesse, why don't you talk to us a little bit about our design intent? Why we make this thing the way we made it?
So, again, coming into this, what we wanted was something that kept the sling out of the way, right? We know that the sling is the holster for the gun, for the rifle, and we wanted something that kept the sling out of the way when it wasn't being used or when it's being put in a vehicle, a safe, something like that. Easy to deploy, and then gave us tons of adjustment, right? Keeping everything in a nice minimalist package. We wanted full access to fire control while the sling was in storage mode, and then tons of adjustability and intuitive adjustability as the sling was deployed. So that was kind of the design criteria going in, and this is what we came up with. Why don't you walk them through kind of how it works?
So all the rifles on the table right now, the slings are all stored, but it's really easy to deploy this sling. Basically, you grab it anywhere along its length and give it a pull. At that point, you can necklace the sling or run it through your shoulder just like you would any other 2-point sling. One nice piece to note is the way our adjustment tab works is it's under pressure whenever you're slung in the sling. It's under pressure, which holds it off from the side of the sling, so it's always kind of sticking out. Compared to some other slings where the tab is separate from the sling body, they can kind of fall in whatever direction, right? This is always there, it always sticks out, it's really easy to find, and there's only one adjustment tab on this sling, so it's a pull back to loosen, pull forward to tighten sling. A lot of slings like that out there today, but it really keeps everything clean. The tail is captured, so there's nothing flopping and slopping. But really, in this regard, it's not any different than any other 2-point sling that you've seen before. Very similar. For us, kind of the magic happens in the way we have set the sling up to stow. Like Jesse said, people have been using Ranger bands and hair ties and things like that for a long time, and we just wanted to come up with a little simpler solution to that stowed really tight against the rifle. And so what we have is we have 3 elastic keepers along the length of the sling, with the first one sewn in position, and then we have a paracord stowage dongle, which aids us in tucking it into that elastic. And so I push all the elastics down to the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and just feed that dongle through, and you just pinch the elastic, it'll stand up, you can feed it right through. So this is the position that my sling is going to stay in, whether it's stored or deployed. My elastic and dongle are going to be through each other. That keeps the dongle from sliding around, from accidentally having it near your handle. It just keeps it out of your way all the time. And when you want to stow it, you just have to grasp the elastic to keep them from sliding and pull on the dongle. And you can kind of get the sling exactly where you want. It allows you to pull it really tight to the side of the rifle. And once you have it there, you just slide these elastic keepers in place and give it one more tug to tighten it all down. I personally like to leave my storage dongle out because when I deploy my sling, then it gets captured under all 3 elastic keepers and keeps it out of the way. However, if you're a little concerned about this dangling in your way, you can back this rear keeper off just a little bit and tuck the dongle back underneath. And that'll keep it nice and flat. When it's stowed, it keeps it out of the way. If you're concerned about it getting snagged on things or being a hassle for you, it's out of the way. The only thing to note there is when you deploy the sling, the dongle will just be deployed under these 2 elastic keepers, but that's still enough to keep it from sliding and keep it out of your way. And so this is normal configuration. We have a 7.5, a 10.5, and a 14.5, excuse me. And so with all these guns, with the sling attached to the stock and to the forward of the rail, we can fit this sling on here pretty easily without any extra accommodations. But not everybody runs their sling like that. On this rifle, even though it's a 16-inch rifle, we're showing the sling here attached to the rear of the rail. This could also be the same as if your stock was fully collapsed when you stored your rifle, or if you had a PDW stock or something like that, and you had to come up with a solution to store all that sling, and it just wouldn't store flat against the rifle. There's a way to do that, and we just want to show you real quick. So even with all this sling, same thing, tug it, it deploys. We know how slings work. But the key here is when I want to store this sling, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to run it through, I'm going to run the dongle through the elastic tabs. Then I'm going to just snug it all tight. But what you can see is there's too much strap for me to just snug it tight in this configuration. So I'm going to slide the forward elastic keeper forward, and I'm going to grab the bottom. In this case, I'll have 3 pieces of webbing stacked. I'm going to grab the bottom one and pull it tight. This allows me to take up some of the length of the back of the sling, but it leaves me this big belly. And I'm going to go ahead and make a Z-fold with that. And I like to point the tip of it forward, and then it sandwiches between the 3 layers. I'm going to just slide my second keeper over all of that to give some tension to it. And so at this point, you can see it's kind of starting to be stowed, but it's still a little floppy. And the solution to that is putting my fingers in these 2 little folds I've created, and I can start to snug it all up. It allows me to tighten everything up here. And I can get the sling much tighter against the side of the rifle. Still stowed the way we want, but just with that one extra consideration because we're running the sling to the rear or a gun that had a short stock or a much shorter overall length. It's just a way that we can, a little extra step that we can do to tighten the sling up even more on those shorter configurations.
Yeah, so there it is, guys. Super simple concept, right? But it meets all the design criteria that we were looking for. Really nice stowage system, allows it to remain really tight to the rifle, giving you full access to fire controls. Really nice adjustability throughout there, really intuitive adjustability. Nice soft webbing on there. And again, kind of fits the bill for all of those things. So if you guys have any questions on this or want to check it out, go ahead over to our website. You can reach us on the contacts page. Otherwise, we'll see you guys in the next video.